2 p.m. Detroit, and you know what that means. Detroit media icon Ryan Ermanni, University of Michigan great Braylon Edwards, and of course, Maz are about to take over on Woodward Sports. Every day, 2 to 4 p.m., it's the best Detroit sports talk on Detroit's best sports network, Woodward Sports.
Yo, what's going on? Welcome on a beautiful Friday. Braylon Edwards, the host, with my guy, Anson Wells. There is no Maz today, but there is Ricky and there is Pete. And everybody in the studio, as we say, welcome in to the listeners and the watchers of our show. Everybody's laughing already. We got to let you in on the joke. We got to let you in. So, Pete, do me a favor.
You got it, buddy. I got it.
Do the video of the Maz chair. Here we go. You guys know the Maz chair, which sadly enough is empty today. No Maz. Shout out to Maz. We love you. We will see you next week.
Tomorrow,
excuse me. But you guys know how the door opens right there behind you. You guys are always looking at this. Usually it has some good clips, some good video for you. It opens, it slides like this. Now, Pete, please come back to me.
You got it, buddy.
And the rest of the desk. You see how the studio looks, okay? There's a desk. Okay, there's two microphones on the desk. There's two booths. One houses Pete, the other houses Ricky. There's the chair. You know this is a studio, right? You know this is a studio. Tell me if I'm wrong or not. Guy tries to come in here, tries to get the door open. He's jiggling it, pulling the door. It won't work. Finally tries to slide it. And I simply, Anson tells him, he says, look, the bath, he says, I'm trying to find the restroom. Do you know where it is? Anson says, look, what you want to do is you want to go over there. As he's answering this guy, I kind of get up. Anson's done. I politely close the door back like this because this is my.
You said politely. There was nothing polite about it.
It was polite.
Be real, Rick.
The quote was, what about this looks like a bathroom? That was the quote.
There was nothing polite about it, Brad.
Daddy Edwards showed up.
I'm a nice guy, and listen, I'm in a great mood. Like, you guys can feel the energy. I'm in a great mood. I'm happy to be with you guys. The air quality is another matter that we'll get to in a second.
Indeed.
But I'm in a good mood. I just don't understand. What about this look like the bathroom could be this way? Ladies and gentlemen, tell me. Like, if you look at a studio, if you're walking into a place and you see a live studio, you're not gonna try to walk through the studio asking, "Hey, you guys know where the bathroom is?" I just
excuse me,
there's
Braylon
more
Edwards.
behind it. If you want to come here and kick it with the vibe, then come here and say, "Hey, look, man, I know you guys do the show over here. Just come do that."
Right.
Don't come here with the misinformation. Well, I was looking for the bathroom. Sir, the bathroom's over there, Birmingham Roast. Oh, that's the only one. If it was, that's what you gotta wait. You got to sit there, sit tight, and wait. Was I wrong?
Owned by a legend.
weren't.
My man was owned by a legend.
So classic.
I wasn't trying to be, so I apologize if I was a little bit abrasive.
Kurt?
I'll get him some cards before
He's all right.
You get him some cards?
You were
Anson, how you doing today, man? How are you doing?
I'm fantastic, aside from some children in the text thread last night who were very excited over the Pacers winning, but
We'll get to that.
I'm feeling great, although I'm not sure if I'm going downtown this weekend.
Why is that?
Well, there's some wildfires in Canada that have dropped the air quality in Detroit, as we see the map there. How it's gotten all the way to Detroit, well, I will give you a little meteorology.
Thank you.
If you watch that jet stream that's going to dip down right to the Great Lakes,
Okay.
there's a massive flow of air that comes from Lake Huron into the Detroit River.
Oh, wow.
So this stuff is funneling straight down into Detroit, and right now, the air quality in our great city is bad
133,
to very bad.
Yeah, 133, and a lot of individuals can't breathe in this. Not everybody has the same breathing pattern, so it is affecting a lot more than others. Anson, you know what would have been cool about that? Is if we would have had you up here, man. I know you guys won't be able to hear me, but you can see.
Exactly. What email's open over there, Ricky?
Chase.
Chase? All right.
Yeah, we can pull that up.
How about the Univision meteorologist?
It's coming.
Can we shout out for the Univision meteorologist?
Oh, I know exactly what you mean on that. Touche.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah.
Touche.
Shout out to her.
Touche.
Shout out to
I
her.
realized that the
Ricky.
first time. You know, I got
Talented.
hip to Univision and what goes on Univision. When I moved to Miami, got my first condo, 2006. I'm down there, so there's no cable yet. Cable guy had to come install the cable or satellite, Comcast, whatever it was at that time. All we had was like the basic couple channels. Univision was one of them. I was dialed in like I have never been in dial.
Telenovelas even?
What? What? Man, they had this this daytime drama show. I want to say it was called Passions. Hey, that's another life. That indeed is a.
Hey, Bray, can we try this again? Let's try this again.
Can we swap this? Oh yeah.
We don't have the.
A high pressure system up here.
Hold on.
Paired with some wildfires from the Canadian British Rockies.
Wow, that's correct.
Flowing in eastern jet stream formation, congregating
I'll
in
bring
the
it down.
Congregating.
Hold on, give me a second.
northern Great Lakes area, in which we're then going to see a jet flow into the Detroit River, culminating in a possible postponement of the Tigers game.
It almost did indeed, and all the jokes are almost postponed. The Tigers game, they start their series against the Cubs. 3 games tonight, Saturday and Sunday. Big series. We'll get into the Tigers, how you feel about them splitting with the Chicago White Sox. A little bit of a disappointment, but baseball is a very long season, 162 games to be exact. So we
I
can
love doubleheaders.
Yeah.
Smash them together. Let's go.
This is true. Also, the Tigers haven't really had a lot of rest. If you look at their last 2 weeks of playing baseball and traveling and road series, hasn't been a ton of rest, not making excuses, but I think that is a serviceable one as it relates to what they've done thus far.
Pete, can we get some the top Univision meteorologist on the back wall here for just a moment?
Oh, wow.
That'd be on Ricky.
That's what we're doing?
Why not? It's Friday, baby. We're having fun.
You know what? Speaking of having fun, we started kind of having a conversation before the show started.
Risky.
It's a risky conversation, but what the hell? We're risky individuals. Stealing.
Yeah.
Has anyone in here ever been caught stealing? And if so, just share the story. I'll go first.
Oh.
I feel like always I set it up and you guys go, and then I'll wait and see how much I want to tell of a story. I'll just tell you this story. So, when I was 15, so that's the age. When I was 15, broke my knee, my left knee, typical tubercle, had to have a long cast from quad all the way down to foot. One of those long ones. I had crutches. They had to let me leave class about 10 minutes early when I was in high school at King. Shout out to Martin Luther King, so that I can get to my classes on time. Fast forward. I was driving at the time. Was close to getting my license. My parents went out of town for the day to Ohio to a track meet. My cousin was over there. Speaking of basketball cards, Anson, I said, this is the perfect time to come up on some basketball cards, man. I went with my cousin. I'm not going to say whose fault it was.
You said come up on some?
Come up on some. So come up on some definitely means I ain't have any cash in my pocket. You know what I'm saying? So my cousin and I, we go to Kmart and establish that it's no longer there. We both took some cards on crutches with a long cast. And as I'm walking out, Anson, I'll never forget. The guy stops me at the door. He said, hey, he thought that the crutches and the cast were a front. He thought this was a part of my disguise.
He was digging into the cast.
So I'm going to do this. I didn't put them in the cast, but this was fake. So when he grabs me and turns me around, he says, hey, don't swing that. I'm like, I can't, I'll fall. So literally go back. My parents are out of town. I tried to call my uncle to come get me, rest in peace, because I know Uncle Chucky's going to take care of me. I know he won't tell my parents. He'll hold me down. He'll tell me some life lessons, and I can figure this story out. Well, Uncle Chucky didn't pick up because he was out of town, but my auntie did. My auntie is very different than my Uncle Chucky. Shout out to my auntie Debbie. I love her dearly. Put me on punishment, waited for my parents to get back, and when I got back, see parents of today, it's okay, and you won't get in trouble for it, and your kids turn out a little bit better. You got to whoop your kids' ass.
A little bit.
Because in doing so, in disrespecting the trust of my parents, and stealing cars, which is something you shouldn't do at all, I got my butt royally tore up. And I never stole anything ever, ever, ever again. So that is my story, and I am here as a
Should we go back to the big board?
victim/turn storyteller.
Quick shout out to Ricky.
Should we go back to the big board?
Appreciate you, Ricky.
That was,
For #1 pick, blue chip prospect, straight out of Columbia, right there.
Shout out Fox 2.
whoa,
My goodness.
that
So,
is my goodness.
so while we're going,
Good job.
it's a risky
Side
Friday.
note, Pete. Good job.
This is good stuff,
It's a
man.
risky
job, Pete.
Friday. So my senior year in high school, in the winter.
Senior.
In the winter. I
Okay.
was 17, but I
Okay.
figured out the situation at Myers, and I helped my my card collection. I helped my inventory quite a bit. Now, fast forward 2 years to college, me and my buddies get back into collecting. And they're like, how do you have all these cards from 95, 96? Because, you know, once you start driving, you're not buying cards, you're buying gas, you know? So I explained my whole system, and I had my freshman year up at State, I did get caught trying to take a CD at Tower Records. The guy let me off. I was done at that point. But my buddies were jealous of all these cards. So they started, the three of them, going, stealing cards. Well, the two guys would sit in a car while the third guy would go inside, and then he would have to split them 3 ways.
I still know where Myers cars are located. You walk in, you go to the left. They would be about an aisle or two towards the end of where the cash register aisle is. I'm just saying.
And then those were the good ones, and then they also had the ones in the electronics, like the video game sections.
Good call.
So they're doing, and they're shoving them into comforters, and then they're buying the comforters and then returning the comforters. Well, they weren't getting enough.
Gotta shove it in there.
So my boy goes in, empties out a bunch of dishes out of a dish box, like a whole dish set, and fills it up with boxes. Goes to the register. Cashier gets a call. Didn't tip him off. Still tries to purchase them. And the moment he tries to purchase them, that's not shoplifting. That's retail fraud.
Yeah.
And my buddy stayed in the car for an hour and got busted too. Could you imagine in your sophomore year in college having to explain to your parents why you need a lawyer for stealing sports cards? We still laugh about it to this day. Shout out DPO, BJ, and my man Brad.
Yeah, I still would get my ass whooped. I 100%. I appreciate the story. Ricky, you on the clock, brother.
All right, so I was a criminal at one point in my life, so I'm not even gonna get into all the things I get. I'm just gonna be real. We're just gonna be honest. This I told a lot of things, but I would say one of the craziest stories where I didn't steal. I actually got in a car with somebody who had stole a car, and I didn't know he had stolen it. He was at like a YMCA and found somebody's keys, went outside, got in it, thought it was cool to like pick his boys up. So we riding. I get out the car. As I'm walking to my house, somebody's behind him zooming. Police show up to my house. We get arrested the whole night. I didn't get in any trouble because, I mean, he told them the truth of the story.
Right.
I really had no idea. So I think that was like the craziest of like, I didn't even steal it, but I got arrested at my own house for a car that I didn't steal. I feel like that was worse than actually stealing it. Because everybody looking at me like, yo, what are you? I'm like, I didn't know. My boy pulled up. Thought he had a nuke. That was his cousin's car.
Hanging out with the wrong people it can get you into trouble.
Real quick.
I had a funny story like that too. I'm in Atlanta. We're at what's the Lenox Mall.
Yeah.
And we're walking into the mall. We're standing across the street, and as we're walking up, there was a State Farm event in the parking lot. Blah blah blah. We noticed that there was a BMW 750 trunk open. The keys were in the trunk.
Bank car.
So me, 100%. You know me. I'm like, look, man, we need to find whose keys these are.
Yeah.
Give them to somebody. Let's check over here. I had a friend, if you will, loose term acquaintance.
Yeah.
He was like, no, this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna take the keys. I'm gonna call one of my boys from Detroit, come down there and pick the car up. I was like,
we doing too much.
First of all, why does your mind work like this?
GTA.
Second of all, like how it's gonna take your boy at least 24 hours to get down here, maybe 18. What are they gonna do in the meantime? Are you gonna take this car and go hide it somewhere? Long story short, no longer my acquaintance or friend.
100%.
We got him up out of here, as they say.
Yeah.
Maz, I'm glad he's not here because I know he's not a thief. So that it would be a wasted question on him. So
Maz
Pete,
was still a Hearts in high
Like some
school.
bazooka bubble gum when he
you
was
know
8.
Maz ain't never stolen nothing a day in his life, man. Maz is the ultimate good human being. Pete, what about you?
Seriously, I haven't either. I really have not.
I believe that.
No, that's not true. I'm not completely good. I have twice taken money out of mom's wallet, just like a 20 here and there. So I mean, I'm guilty of that twice in my life.
But you had to buy yourself something to eat.
Well, no, it wasn't for something for eat. It was to go gambling at Hazel Park.
I never took bills.
CP.
I would take coins out of the coin jar.
CP, I was trying to have your back, man.
I know, but I'm being honest with you, Brandon. We're having a fun day, and that's the honest
this is true.
He just completely broke down from saint to sinner right there, man.
That was like, all right, okay.
I didn't do anything
Actually,
bad.
no, I did steal the gamble a few times.
But I'm gonna.
I didn't steal from a corporation that makes about $1 billion a year. I stole from mom. Oh my God!
Oh my God.
Not from mom and pop,
Yeah.
but from a franchise store. That's a little more.
But I
acceptable.
will throw a wrinkle into this segment. I'll throw a wrinkle into this segment.
Okay.
The first time I came home just completely drunk was D-Runk.
Okay.
Where mom and dad just knew, and they're just like, just get to bed. They had to help me to bed. I crawled to my frickin' front door. So I was at a party in high school, obviously underage. We were 18. It was like 17. Okay, it was junior year into senior year, one of those parties. It's summer party, right?
This is the 90s, Fox.
This is the 90s, exactly.
Right.
So we just got completely you-know-what S-faced. And so to the point where somebody was, we kind of like were drawing straws to see who was sober enough to drive me home. And when I got home, we were still drinking in the car, obviously doing stupid stuff.
Of course.
When I got home, they didn't even drop me off like in my driveway. They just dropped me off at the front of the house and left, and I literally had to crawl.
Did you have stolen objects in your pockets?
I had nothing stolen in my pockets, but it was one heck of a crazy story because I knocked on the door and rang the doorbell like I was like some salesman or something like that at like 10 o'clock at night.
No worries, Pete.
Mom and Dad knew exactly what happened and helped me to bed, and the next day was detention center.
No worries.
Center.
He's not a saint.
Well, let's do this. You in the chat, tell us some of your stories. If you stole something, would you steal? How'd you steal it? Some of these stories, they may get you something. They may get you a prize by the end of the show. Tell in the chat, Anson will read them as we go through this. But I use stealing, and Pete brings up drinking, so they go hand in hand. Last night, the Indiana Pacers stole one in OKC. The first time a team has come back to win down by 9 with 3 minutes or less in the game. Teams when trailing by 9 points in the finals since 1971 are 1-182. And, of course, that one time was last night. Anson, I'm going to start off with you. I kept asking this question. Is there space for the Pacers to take this 7? Is there space for the Pacers to surprise OKC? You yourself said you wouldn't be surprised if the Pacers did indeed win Game 1, which they did. Maz said the same thing. I said a month ago, put some respect on Tyrese Halliburton's name. You know, sometimes you look at the stats, you look what he did last night, it doesn't look like much. 10, 5, 9, I want to say. What was the stats? 10, 6, and 14. 10, 6, and 14. But what I noticed about that, and I'll turn it over to you, is he's never out of the game. He checks the ego at the door. And in the moments where they ask him to be the guy, in the moments where they ask him to be the star player of the Indianapolis Pacers, every single time, it seems as though he answers the bell. You can say what you want to about him, but he is a superstar. Maybe not your idea of what a superstar used to be, but in this day and age, with this NBA, the way it is constructed, Tyrese Halliburton is a superstar, and last night he did his best imitation of AI in 2000, and he still won at OKC.
Yeah. And this team is 7-2 in these playoffs on the road, and they are 8-1 in clutch games. And your boy Halliburton is the guy to thank for that or blame for that, whichever side of the fanship you are on. But I'm writing up my prep for last night's game as the game's unfolding. And the thing that really was surprising to me was Halliburton was deferring as the offensive option. He was passing the ball early in possessions. He wasn't coming to the ball to get it. And I was honestly shocked. There was, especially in the last 3 minutes, he was just standing off to the side and letting Nembhard take wild shots, and he was hitting them.
Nembhard, you got to love what you saw out of him last night. That relationship from playing on Team Canada with SGA, you saw a guy that is not afraid of SGA, knows SGA. That played well for the Pacers last night. Sorry.
It's okay. I'm glad you threw that in there because that is important to know. There was, these are two guys that are buddies that are facing off against each other.
A little chirpy in there.
In my opinion, Nembhard was absolutely the player of the game last night. His defense, his grit, the guy's an absolute dog, but he was hitting shots. Now, take a look at Nembhard, Toppin, and Nesmith. I told you guys the only way that the Pacers can win games in this series is if 2 or more of those guys are hitting shots. This team shot 47% from 3 on 39 attempts.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen maybe more than one other time in this series. You look back after round 1, this same OKC team dumped game 1 after a long layoff to Denver. Same deal. Everybody wrote them off, said that they weren't ready yet. Same deal. Last night, you've got a very wild game in terms of what the box score saw. As a kid, I ran to get my free press out of the mailbox because I could tell you exactly what happened based on that box score. Now, 20 turnovers in the first half for Indiana. I think they ended up with 26, but of those 20 turnovers, they only gave up 9 points in that first half. That kept the door open. They stayed close the whole way, but they also hit shots. You look up and down at OKC's box score, and you just can't really figure out why they lost this game. They didn't turn the ball. They turned the ball over less than 10 times, but they just didn't shoot well. They seemed rusty. Listen, the Pacers can surprise, and they can take some games. I am not worried about this series for OKC at all, though.
No, and you shouldn't be, because how SGA has played. Even last night, he still had 38. He still played stellar. Didn't get the whistle as much as he usually gets it, and that's one thing I'm happy for the NBA. They merged the Western and Eastern Conference Finals. The Eastern Conference Finals has been a lot of whistle swallowing, if you will, pause. Western Conference, a lot of whistle calling. This one, couple calls, lot. The play at the end by Lou Dort, when he went body to body with Nesmith, I thought that was phenomenal all the way around. There was no call. There was great defense. He ends up getting the block to get the ball. So I love
the one on Jalen Williams.
100%.
That was sick.
I love it.
That was
so
a
I appreciate
sick play.
And on reverse, Lou Dort had a block as well, where he went body to body with a minute and a half left in the game.
Siakam?
Yes, it was Siakam. It was a great play. So you appreciate that. But my question to you is, you talk about you don't know why they were missing shots, or why the game looked bleak, or what happened if you look at the box score. This is the first time, in my estimation, that they've had a team run with them the whole game. See, and play defense just like them, and shoot like them, and have that intensity. It's a little bit easier when you're playing against a team that doesn't run like that, to still have energy to shoot their shot, to have those and ones at the end of the game, the things that you usually are used to. But the Pacers had that same intensity. They play physical basketball as well, so maybe, am I wrong, it could be the pace.
Well, it has to be the pace. We saw that same pace accompanied with made shots by the Timberwolves in the game that they beat them by 40? Something like that. So you nailed it. It has to be the pace with shot making. And I loved Obi Toppin. Always been a fan. That guy's not going to shoot the way that he did throughout the rest of the series.
That shot is ugly. I know it was going in. University of Dayton Player of the Year. I understand that. Shout out to him. His shot's so ugly.
Yeah, but if they can trim their turnovers, and if Halliburton is putting up 20+ points a game, then they can win this. This was the type of game that I saw. When I mentioned earlier in the week, you look at he had a game where he had scored 8 or 10 points, and then another one where he scored 16 points. I didn't think that they could get away with a win when he kind of disappeared offensively. Now, he obviously was rebounding the ball, double-digit assists. I don't know what his turnovers. I didn't get a chance to look at that.
A lot.
He did turn the ball over a lot.
Yes.
See, now the Pacers are going to have to change that, but I just don't know what part of OKC's defense that they're going to be able to get around to the point where they can be 16, 18 turnovers or less. OKC's got to capitalize. OKC will shake off the rust. When they get going, again, it's the Avalanche. You got to trigger them. They weren't triggered last night. Yeah. They were still playing in the Western Conference Finals, or at least that's where their mojo was. I am not worried. Again, guys, I love Jay Williams, all right? Jalen Williams is my guy. I don't really love SGA at all. I'm a Chet guy, kind of, but I don't really care about this team to the point where I'm going to feel the same way I felt after the Pistons lost to the Knicks. That being said, though, I do adamantly think this is the future of the NBA. I think that they will handle this series, but I said 5. I still think they can win these next 4. I still think they will win these 4, but I will absolutely not be shocked to see this Game 7 in OKC being played.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think everybody can take a chill pill. This thing will pick up for them, but one thing that has to happen for OKC, Pete, Hardenstein has to be more, and so does Chet.
Chet disappeared.
6 for 6 in 21 minutes. It's not going to get it done for Chet in OKC.
Yeah, you can't have the SGA one-man band show going on over there. I mean, he's a great player. He's a spectacular player. I love watching SGA perform his magic, especially right now in the playoffs. He is the team leader. He is the heartbeat for OKC, but you're going to need more than just the one-man band, and Anson stole my thunder on Obi Toppin. It looked like Obi Toppin, channeled his inner Vinnie Johnson last night. Like he was, even with that hideous shot that he's got, he was still making, he was making it work for the Pacers, and he helped keep the Pacers in that game, and I was so impressed by what Mr. Obi Toppin did. But I tell you what, guys, I think I agree with you, Anson. They got their win last night. And now I think that now you're going to see OKC make the adjustments. We're going to go away from. I don't know. By the way, I have 2 more comments I want to make because I don't know what the over under is on the points tonight for SGA. But Pascal Siakam, he owes me, man, because his over under last night was 19.5, and we all know where he finished at 19 points. So he kind of owes me. But I think that, Anson, you're right. That come game 2, OKC will make those adjustments, kind of move away from putting all the full load on SGA, and they will pick up the pace and win game 2.
Not even so much adjustments, it's waking up.
Yeah.
Waking up.
Ricky, you got something on it?
Yeah, am I the only one that feel like OKC got lucky by only losing by 1 point because of all those turnovers? Like at one point, it felt like they were just
they forced all those turnovers. Yeah. They should have won by 15.
That's what I meant.
I
said that wrong. That's what I meant, because at one point it just felt like it was just turnover after turnover. I'm like, yo, how is this? How is this possible?
The Pacers made clutch shots and they just hung around, and that's really been the whole point of people believing that they can win this series is the grit and the ability to hang around.
Let's broaden the scope on the game. How was this game for you? So much is made coming into this game. Oh, it's going to be a blowout series. I don't want to watch it. It's not a big team. It's not huge superstars. It's the Pacers. It's OKC. He's foreign. This guy we don't necessarily like. All that went out the door in my eyes last night. Like, I was dialed into that game. Even when they were down, I still, because of how this playoffs has been, a lot of comebacks from the Indiana Pacers and other teams, I was glued to the TV. I think it kind of went out the window once you got to about the halfway point in the third quarter.
Yeah, and there's a strange kind of hatred towards the OKC inevitability. Everyone knows their future capital. Everyone's seen what they've done with their season this year. So there's a lot of people rooting for them, and those, they're not necessarily Pacer fans. But this whole series is the future of the NBA, and you're just going to have to start accepting it. There's no more Steph Curry in the finals. There's no more LeBron in the finals. Halliburton versus SGA, whether you want it or not, whether you realize it now or not, in a couple of years we will look back at this series as the dawn of the new NBA, the new era.
I definitely agree with you, and I actually think a step deeper. We talked about SGA wanting him to be the face of the league. It's the perfect look. He's a consummate professional. It's the foreign game. It's everything that Adam Silver wants. Last time I checked, they would like the Americans to win. Last time I checked, they want the face to be a guy from here, born and raised here.
That's interesting. I never even put that together.
So I started watching last night through a different lens in that fourth quarter, especially as they started coming back. I'm like, you build SGA up. Usually they build guys up for individuals to come knock them out and become the superhero. Maybe this is seen to set up. Maybe it's set up for Tyrese Halliburton to be the superhero.
And like you said, you didn't see SGA on the line all night last night like a lot of people thought. But speaking of Tyrese Halliburton,
go for it.
I have brought you guys a Tyrese Halliburton rookie card.
Oh, I'm going to take that right.
All right. It's a Friday, the Friday finale. So you're getting one of those. I got the Craniacs cards. We connected over the Fleer metal over here.
Sorry, guys. We've had a camera malfunction. Camera malfunction.
Jumping around.
We're doing its own thing.
We got one of the most iconic series first release. We got the Allen Houston as well as one of our homegrown guys here, Steve Smith, some Deontay Murray, C.J. McCollum, as well as Clyde the Glide, that old 91 Tiger schedule, and then a few other cards to shake out here.
Is that Milt Tyler?
The jewel of today is the Tyrese Halliburton. So we actually, let me catch up with these before we get to the break. We got a huge $50 chat, super
check
chat.
This out. You know what? Since it's Buddy, this is on. You take this all the way to the break, sir.
All right, there we go. So
Sounds
Jared
good.
Sayers with $50. Fellas, thanks for being a part of my life. My dad recently passed, and his service is Sun Afternoon.
R.I.P.
Maz was
Pops.
awesome and contributed to the Memorial Fund. Appreciate the escape y'all provide while I work. As men of faith, we will rely on God to press on. Godspeed to you and your family, my friend. We appreciate you, and we love having you here. Michael Wary, has anyone... Oh, that is typically you, my friend. He did kick it off with a $2 super chat. And then the final one for $5, Jason Kenyon. He's always in here. We appreciate you. I still believe it's a gentleman's sweep for OKC. SGA left pissed. You know he's working and not letting that game go. Okay, CERN turns it up to 100 now. I do believe that. This is a team that operates on such momentum. Again, that Avalanche, they just came in rusty, I believe. Same deal when they came in after the long break to play the Denver Nuggets in Game 1. I do think that they'll be just fine. But I do think that this is going to be a hell of a series. I'm not quite sure about that gentleman's sweep anymore. But we are up against the break. Guys, smash that like button. Please get your super chats in. We've got an awesome, awesome prize pack, including that Tyrese Halliburton rookie. And we'll be right back. Hey! It's a legendary time. Legendary Fridays means Legendary Buddies Pizza, that deep dish Detroit style pizza. And they've been slinging it for 79 years. They got 22 locations in Detroit, including the original at 6 Mile and Conant. Sign up today and get started earning your rewards with the Buddies Rewards app. Download it today at buddies.com. And when you order some pizza this weekend, type in that code you see right above my head, 10MEAL. You will save 10% off that first order. So get on over to buddiespizza.com.
Are you a real Detroit sports fan? Woodward Sports is here to give you all the Detroit sports you can handle. Weekdays, make sure you're locked in on Wake Up Woodward from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Followed by Big D Energy with Neil Rule and Darren McCarty from 11 a.m. to 1. Up next, you can't miss Ermanni and Edwards with Maz from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. And finish the day out with the bad boys of Detroit sports media, the Woodward Heavyweights, from 5 to 7 p.m. Okay, wait, that isn't enough for you, you sports freak? Check out Woodward Wings, Woodward Ringside, and the Lions Weekly Update every Sunday with Broder, Terry Foster, and Sean Belegian. Subscribe on YouTube for all our great content, and make sure you're following on all social media, X, IG, Facebook, and TikTok. You want sports? We got you covered. Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit sports.
How do people feel about getting a Planet Fitness membership for $15 a month? How do they like working out in a clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? And how about free fitness training in the judgment-free zone that leaves them feeling energized all day long? Join Planet Fitness today with the free PF app, online or in club, and start getting that big fitness energy for $15 a month.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
You know how some things are so good they should be world famous, but they're not? Our house-made vinaigrette is one of those things. And the antipasta salad, we drizzle it over. Same with our hand-battered chicken tenders. Original recipe soups and pasta sauces. It's almost as if our original, world-famous Detroit-style pizza is mocking them. And that's not very nice.
Of summer are ready to get back to the playoffs, and there's no better place to get your Tigers coverage than Woodward Sports. Join us all season long as we follow as our hometown Tigers claw and fight. This ball is gone. Boys are back in town. Feel the roar with Woodward Sports.
It is Feldman.com, Feldman Chevrolet time, everybody. You can get a 2025 Chevy Silverado for just $199 per month, or get a 2025 Chevy Equinox for only $259 a month, and you can come visit any of Feldman Chevrolet's 5 locations, and they are in Novi, Highland, New Hudson, Livonia, or in Lansing. Mr. Braylon.
All right, White Claw Tigers tour. Look, we know we dropped one yesterday to the White Sox, but it's a long season, man. It's still the number 1 team in the AL, and they play the number 1 team in the NL today. That's why you got to be a part of it, man. It's the White Claw Tigers tour. June 13th, we are at Nemo's. It's right around the corner. Last time I checked, that is a week from today. We'll be at Nemo's the week after that, second best, and then we'll be at the Old Miami June 29th, man. Sponsored by Ben Johnson Law, as well as East Town Distributors, man. Come grab life by the Claw. Join White Claw. That's a cool little motto, man. Grab life by the Claw.
No doubt.
I appreciate that, man. It's going to be a lot of fun, too, man. Like, I heard about it 2 weeks ago they were there. They said they had a lot of fun down there. So, I'm all in, man. I want to be a part of it. We can meet some fans down there, especially with the super chats and all the engagement that you've created. And engage with these individuals.
Rando Smalls hopped in real quick with a $10.
Rando.
Your chat family has helped this disabled veteran. Thank you so sincerely for your service, my friend. We have allowed this disabled veteran to deal with depression and isolation. Sports have always been family to me.
Thank you for your
Much love,
Thank you for your service, Rando.
Yeah,
we appreciate it. Thank you for your service, man. I'm glad that we can help you. You know what I'm saying? You help us. And coming every day, we look forward to seeing you guys, the familiar faces in the chat. It's a family, you know?
Paper Chungus is back in the chat asking me, he wants my OnlyFans.
Whoa.
Should I give it to him?
He's
obsessed,
bro.
man. It's strange.
I got your cameras
That's for you
on.
to decide, man. Speaking of
I'm
deciding,
not giving it to him.
Game 1, over and decided. It went to the Pacers. Before we move on to the Lions, because we do have a sign from the Lions, Dan Campbell had some good things to say about the season, the schedule. First, we got some also different way to look at Frank Ragnar's retirement. I think it's more along the lines, in line with what Anson has to say. But just to put a bow, shout out to my boy Ryan Ermanni, on the conversation. Game 2, it's a much different game. Games that's still at home for OKC. OKC now has a second to understand the pace and what the Pacers are going to do. Teams have met. They fought. They've been in the ring. What does Game 2 look like for you? Who wins? We'll go around the room, and we'll jump into some of that Lions talk.
Personally, I think that if they would have lost that game last night, I think they'd get blown out in Game 2.
Gotcha.
Because that would have been very similar to what we saw happen to the Knicks. Just that serious emotional just crush. I don't think that OKC is worried. They've already faced this in the second round against Denver, which to me is very similar in terms of how good they are. I think that it'll be a close game. I think it'll be hard fought. I don't think that the Pacers will take 2 in OKC. Could be wrong, but I think that OKC knocks the rust off and comes out and wins. I wouldn't put them as 10-point favorites, but I think that they win that game.
Pete, it's on you. What do you think, man? Is this a one-off? Is this going to be how the series is? Is it going to be down to the wire? What does Game 2 look like for you?
Game 2 is going to go to OKC. It's just going to have to happen because they've been making the adjustments all season long, and now is the time to make the biggest adjustment of your season to save your season, and now is the time to do it. And I think they're going to win the game. But yeah, Bray, this is going to be a close game because I think the Pacers are going to take Game 3 back in Indiana, and then OKC makes the adjustment there for the first game, for their final, first game on the road in the finals. They'll adjust for Game 4. This is definitely a cutthroat series. But if OKC does make those adjustments and it is 2-2, Bray, I actually think that this thing will finish with 3 wins in a row by OKC. They'll be down 2-1 after Game 3. They win 3 in a row, win this series 4-2.
Bridgman Road, it's on you. What you got?
Hey, don't put my stuff out there like that. But Pete said it perfect. Adjustments. I feel like OKC is going to make the right adjustments. They're going to capitalize on some of those turnovers finally. And I think it's going to be a close game, but I think OKC is going to come back and they're going to win it. I think I got them.
I'm along the lines of what Pete is saying. I think that Pacers will win Game 2. The big thing for you is you say that, well, Obi Toppin shot like this, Neimark played like this. He was indeed the MVP of that game. The shot that he pulled, the whole sequence with 1 minute and 30 seconds at the top of the key, marbles.
Didn't even look at how
marbles, as they say.
He was taking that shot.
Major League 2. The guy that didn't play the best is the star of the team. It's Tyrese Halliburton. He's not going to play like that in Game 2. I think you see more of him. I think he gets more on the board. I think it'll be a more flow. I think they win Game 2, but then I think OKC wins 2 to 3 in a row.
Wow.
Like, I think it's going to be one of those kind of series.
Yep.
It gets to 6 for sure, but I think 2 Pacers and then 2 OKC, and we'll see what goes from there.
There you go, Bray.
These playoffs have been a lot of away wins. That's for sure. Trend could continue.
I'm trying to ride the wave, man. I'm trying to
No
ride
worries.
the
I
wave.
think you got it right there,
No
Bray.
worries, brother. No worries.
Yeah, I mean, I've been saying it all week. That I saw them definitely being able to come in and steal game 1.
Hold on, you know what? Let's have some fun. Hold on, I'm gonna answer.
behind you.
I'm gonna answer this on the show. Hello, Dave Logan. You do realize that I do a show from 2 to 4. You realize it's 2:40 right now. I'm actually on air talking to you right now.
Put him on speaker.
Well, I'm on the air. You can't call me back. I'll talk to you later, brother. Text me. Appreciate that.
Speakerphone from now on.
My apologies. It was Dave Logan, my homeboy. But this is my time. 2 to 4. Relax on that.
He wanted to know where the bathroom
story
was.
of my life.
You said the best story?
Yo, I said that's the story of my life. Like being in radio, people will literally hear me and then call me.
Yeah.
Like, hey man, I heard you. I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm at work.
Hey, Bray.
Like, keep letting that go down.
Bray, where does that rank in looking for the bathroom earlier?
You said what was it?
Where's that rank with the guy looking for the
I'm trying to
bathroom
tell you,
earlier?
look,
Come
man,
on now.
You know this isn't the space, man. You know this isn't the time.
It'll make you
You know
turn
this
around.
isn't the time
Turn
or
around,
place.
make you feel better.
Respect my schedule.
You were a lot nicer on that phone call.
Respect. Well, that's my boy. Respect my
That'll
schedule.
make you feel better.
Speaking of respecting the schedule, I see this behind me. You know, I see what it is.
Acknowledge it. No.
All right, acknowledge. I saw it.
All right, there it was. There it is.
They're back.
There
You
you go.
guys are hilarious. It is tough though. But speaking of acknowledging a schedule, Dan Campbell's at the podium today. Dan Campbell talked about the same schedule that we've been talking about. I told you I was worried a little bit in the beginning of the season because of the offensive line and the defensive line that they were going to be going against. Look, you got Chris Jones of the Chiefs. You have the Baltimore Ravens. You got the Bears and their defensive line. Rashawn Gary, shout out to Michigan, and the Green Bay Packers. You know what the Bucs defensive line is. Dan Campbell may seem to be different than I am. Here he is.
I'm indifferent to it. I mean, listen, we put them where you want them. Green Bay here, Chicago here, Minnesota here, Baltimore here, Kansas City here, the Rams here. We got to play them all. And we got to be ready to play every one of them 1 week at a time. So I'm excited for the way it's laid out.
Anson, I think the best thing that he said in that is towards the end of the speech is he said, and be ready to play them 1 week at a time. I think it's easy for fans, analysts, myself. It's easy for us to look at the longevity, the big picture, 6, 7, 8 games. It's one game at a time, and that's what it seems that Dan Campbell's paying attention to.
Well, as analysts, we go through and, okay, is this a loss? Is this a win? And then we count them up in the end. They're not doing that. They're not doing that. And that's been his mantra since he got here, one game at a time. And I just think that Lions fans have gotten a little soft this offseason. Like everyone was so all in after Week 18, and we have a better team right now than when we did going into 18. I've said this so many damn times.
Explain that, because I think the other day when I was here, Maz didn't necessarily give you a time to explain what you meant by this team is currently better than it was last year. Explain that.
And I'm not comparing, thank you for prompting that, because I'm not comparing to Week 1 2024 Lions to Week 1 2025 Lions. Although I can't say that one is better or worse. In fact, I would still say that this team is better. I know that we're down 2 offensive linemen, but what you took into the playoffs, Lions fans, was 22 less defenders, starters, or contributors than you should have had or that you started the year off with. So the team on paper to start Week 1, it's the best Lions team that we've ever had, in my opinion. And it's so much better than the team that entered the playoffs out of that Week 18 win over the Vikings. But it comes down to Dan. Dan doesn't care about Week 2, Week 7, Week 17. He's going to have this team focus on Week 1, and there's not one team that we can't beat in the NFL. So stop focusing on that schedule, guys. We earned that schedule. That's what we've always wanted. We're going to be on at night. We're going to be on Mondays. We're going to be getting flexed. This is what we wanted. Careful what you wish for, but this team emotionally and psychologically is ready for all 17 games on the schedule, no matter how hard they might look right now.
Pete, I agree with part of that. I agree with the part that this is what you asked for, this is what you want. Look, when you set your team up, when you ask to win games, when you ask to win divisions, when you ask to be the number one team in the conference, it comes at a price. That means you have to play a number one schedule. But the Lions are a damn good team. They're a team that's ready for that. But do you agree with Anson that this team is mentally ready for that, considering where they are now? Departure, retirement, new players.
Yeah, I think they are, because that's the job of Dan Campbell. And Dan Campbell was hired here to change the not only the history of this team or where the team was supposed to be going, but he was hired to change the mentality of not just the players but the fan base as well, and he has done that. And the thing is that, see, and Sheila agrees, and the thing that we're going to have to really understand with what Anson means is, because Anson, I'm going to have some fun with you here. But we just lost Frank Ragnow, Anson. How are we going to be any better? I'm just, playing,
Sure.
Advocate here. So I'm going to tell you why, and because I agree with what you're saying there. They're better because Jahmyr Gibbs is going into year 3. They're better because Amon-Ra is going into year 4. They're better because Jared Goff is going into, year 8? My whole point is the experience. The more you play, the more experience you get. And Braylon, by playing in the NFL that after that rookie season, once you learn all those lessons that you think that you thought that you learned or you thought that you knew coming out of college, you get those hard educations. And that is why this team is ready for the upcoming season, is they've had those disappointments and they have the right coach in place to lead the right mentality and to keep the headset correct.
You're absolutely right. You go through that rookie year and that off season, then you get to that year 2, you start to see the change, you start to see the growth, and I hope that's what we see from the Lions this year, Ricky.
And you got to think about last season, they got punched in the face 23 plus times by losing key players. Yeah. Nothing can phase them. Think about it. Ragnow is out. He's like, at least we got time to prepare. At least we still got, all the other linemen. Like, I can imagine how he feels when he heard that. He's like, come on now. What else can happen? I'm not going to lose 20-plus players again? Probably not. So he's probably like, yeah, whatever happens, tornado, snowstorm, Ragnow he doesn't care. We going to win.
That's right. That's right.
You know what? I appreciate that. The name that keeps coming up is Ragnow, and it should. Ragnow dropped the bomb on the city of Detroit and the Lions. He is retiring. And I think everybody immediately, because of how great he's been as a player, how great he's been as a captain, a leader, a pillar. He's been the number one center when Jason Kelce retired. Even when Jason Kelce was playing, he still was the number one center in certain protections. So you get excited. I want him back. It's about the contract disputes. You know what? Sometimes you don't think about what the person and what they have sacrificed for the team and for the sport and for themselves. Here's Dan Campbell on his thoughts and feels about Frank Ragnow.
I got all the respect for Frank Ragnow, and man, I love him to death. And the other thing is, quite frankly, some of the stuff about contract talk, that's disrespectful. That's not what this was ever about. So, anyway, love you, Frank.
I appreciate that Dan Campbell in that moment I appreciate that he had that conversation. Basically, he's pissed. You know how when you're not something, and people know that you're not that, when someone accuses you of that, it may knock you off your square a little bit. Sure. It may make you a little bit more mad than you typically are. I think that's what's happened with Dan Campbell. The Lions will do everything right by their players, by their guys, by the ones that they know are going to win the championship, all that stuff. For us as fans to say the money wasn't right, and that wasn't said by Woodward Sports. Just letting you know that. No doubt. That wasn't said by Woodward Sports. It wasn't said by this show or any other show that we have. But when people say that, now you see the other side of Dan. For people to say it is just disrespectful. It's all about what Frank no longer can go through.
Am I wrong? Am I the only one that's picking up a little annoyance on the behalf of both Brad and Dan this offseason?
You're not.
We saw Brad kind of lash out a little bit at the insistence that we had to draft an edge in the first round or trade for one, and now you're kind of seeing it from Dan as well. We're fickle sports fans here in Detroit. We haven't had a winner in so damn long for the Lions and other teams as well, that it's hard right now for Lions fans to just sit back and look what we have.
It's uncomfortable.
Explain that.
I feel like everyone's uncomfortable right now, even us. We don't really we don't really know how to react. I feel like you said, Dan and Brad, they're lashing out. They're getting a different media attention. I feel like it's probably just uncomfortable more than
shouldn't they be exalted in this city right now? Yeah. Shouldn't they be revered in this city right now?
I feel like they are.
I mean, the most cultureless franchise for my entire lifetime in Detroit has the strongest culture out of any sports franchise in Detroit right now. We are all talking and debating on whether this team can win a Super Bowl for 3 straight years now.
Yep, amazing.
When was the last time we could do that for one? Calm down, guys. Like, let's get to week 1. Let's see what happens in Green Bay. Let's see what happens playoffs, because I promise you they're going to be there, guys.
It's true, but it's the other side, and I understand the frustration of Brad Holmes. They're like, look, man, look at what I've done as a GM.
Yeah.
I've come in here, I've drafted players that you didn't think I was going to draft, or that you didn't think we should draft, and look what it's turned into. Dan Campbell saying, look what I've done, look what we've done as a coaching staff. So I get all that, but you know what comes in sports? Sports is day to day. It's game to game. It's year to year. And that just is what it is. So their frustration is the fan base's frustration. The fan base is frustrated with the injuries last year. Ain't nothing you can do about the injuries, but the fan base is frustrated with those. You're frustrated that you had the home field advantage, 15-2, and you got beat by the Commanders. Regardless of what the reason was, you got beat by the Commanders. So I think people are looking just in that space, and that happens. Sure. It comes with the territory. You don't think people are talking, what about the Kansas City Chiefs?
Right.
Chiefs fans, how many Super Bowls had they won in the last 6 years?
Right. They had a
and
slump.
even Chiefs fans like, yo, this isn't acceptable. I'm just saying, like, it comes with every fan base. The Eagles, they beat the Patriots, and then they disappeared. And it was like, oh, what are we going to do? They go to the Super Bowl. We should get rid of our quarterback.
Right.
They were trying to get rid of their quarterback after almost winning the Super Bowl. They tried to get rid of their quarterback, and they realized he had a knee injury, had to bring in a different offensive coordinator, switch some things up, and then they won the Super Bowl. Like, sometimes it just comes with the territory. That's a good point.
And honestly, it seems like every year that the Chiefs do win it, around week 9, week 10, just like when Tom Brady used to win it. Oh, they're cooked.
Yeah.
I think their time's passed, and the next thing you know, they're winning. Now, I did see a question from Randall Smalls in here. Can I ask this question? He says, could Ragnow come back after a half season? And then Phil followed it up. Give the man at least a year to heal, then we will see. I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. I think that we could see this guy in a role with the team, though, like we talked about earlier in the week, as an assistant coach or a lineman's coach, something like that.
The only way you will see Frank Ragnow this season is if, knock on wood, do whatever you want. If somehow a catastrophe, a straight-up catastrophe befell the Detroit Lions and they were still in a position, primed and poised for the playoffs, for the number 1 spot, for the number 1 seed, for a chance at the Super Bowl, Frank's not letting that situation slide. That would be in my estimation now.
I like that.
That'd be the only time you see him. Something happens where it's like, yo, look, Frank, we need you. You calling Batman, and he comes and helps you. That would be the only thing that I could see Frank Ragnow picking up the phone for, because right now he's content.
Hey, take my toe. He can take my toe, man.
He can take your toe?
Come on, man. You can take my toe, bro. I don't need it.
Yeah.
Where's Super Toe? Give him the Super Toe.
Give him the Super
Either
toe.
one he can pick. I'll let him pick, bro. That's right.
Gives new meaning to black from the waist down, eh?
Well, you know what? Speaking of toes, you know we have to have good toes in the NBA, in the NFL? It's DBs. DBs have to have great feet, great toes.
Really?
You gotta be
I was like, don't tell me you're a foot guy,
Really?
Brady.
No. My former coach was.
Great
Rex
transition,
Ryan. He
bro.
was. I love Rex. He's a foot guy.
Maybe we should ask the doc later on.
100%. But you got to be on your toes. And this is what we hope in this Rakestraw second-round draft pick last year. We hope that he can find his niche here with the Detroit Lions. Here's Amik Robinson, Nickelback, talking about just that.
Player.
I see the game is slowing down for him, man. It's slowing down for him, and I know when he come back, he's going to get even better, So I expect Ennis to take a huge jump this year, and I truly mean that.
Now, the game slowing down for him, this is what Pete was talking about a little bit earlier. The game slows down in year 2. You start to see things different. You start to understand how to watch film. You start to be able to process the information that these coaches are giving you. The Lions depth chart, as it relates to the secondary position, Terry Arnold is your starter. DJ Reed is your number 2, flip-flop. They're 2-1 or 1-2. We haven't figured that out yet. Amik Robinson is your nickelback. You saw what he was capable of against Justin Jefferson. So he's our nickelback. Then what? Then where the Lions as it relates to? Is it Avonte Maddox? Is it Ennis Rakestraw? Is it insert player here? Anson, if Ennis Rakestraw can be the player that Brad Holmes saw, the guy that had the scholarship to Nick Saban in Alabama, but chose to forge his own path by going to Missouri. If that guy can show up for the Lions in secondary, what does that mean?
I mean, it means that we have a top 5 secondary, which we probably already have, to be quite honest with you. We've got the 1A and 1A safety tandem in the league.
And then you got 1A and 1A in terms of holding penalties and pass interference penalties. So it is a negation.
I love that. I love a former receiver going to bring that one up. And you're absolutely right.
They hold on every play, man. What do you want me to do?
The money that opened up from Frank Ragnow, go sign Kendall Fuller. Go sign Kendall Fuller. I've been asking for him for about 3 months now. Want to catch up with the Super Chat real quick. Dante 151. Guys, not only will he say, but he will pay $5 to say this once in a Super Chat. Frank Ragnow is going to stay retired. He wants to be there for his daughter and wife. So stop it.
They can have a toe too.
What's that?
They can have a toe too. I don't need
well, Jason Kenyon could use one of your toes. He's got another Super Chat. I have a reconstructed foot. Can't feel half of it. Frank can have my toe as well. He won't miss it, he says.
Wow.
Jason Kenyon, a little bit further back on the OKC conversation. Our OKC already adjusted by changing lineup before game time, went small and fast first. It's going to get faster and harder for Indy to keep up OKC in 5. And then Hassan Hadar from Canada. Hello, guys. Just moved from Lebanon to Canada after our immigration papers got processed. My kids and myself are so happy we can watch the Lions game without waking up at 3 in the morning. Let's go, Lions. I love that. Welcome from the land of the Cedars to our neighbor to the north. That's fantastic. I would love for you to chat in here and let us know what's going on with the fires where you're at. If you've got a lot of smoke, if your eyes are watering, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, please do, man. You got friends and family over here with Woodward Sports, especially this particular show, man. We got your back. We appreciate you. What do you want to do? You want to reset a little bit?
Yeah, let's do a little break and
get a little messages from Vin Johnson.
Remind them though what they got. They got about 55 minutes. You got until 3:50 to get in here.
There's some Craniacs, Tyrese Halliburton rookie card, 1995 Fleer medal. You got the Allen Houston as well as the Clyde Drexler over there. Steve, shout out to Pershing Doughboys. Steve Smith is over there. Michigan State as well. I'd be remiss. You got some players over there for the cards, man. Anson spends his hard-earned time, his hard-earned cash, so that you can be a part of the show, man. So whoever wants that package, I'm talking about the cards, that is, sign up for it through the Super Chat. Let's get a message in. Tell them about Vin Johnson Law. That is me. You know what? I got to get the V's right. Vin Johnson Law, he will fight for you. You got to verify, you got to engage, and also you have to notify. This is what we do, man. Vin Johnson Law, they pull up for you, they fight for you. They are trial attorneys. That means they're not afraid to go to attorneys. Afraid to go to trial. A lot of times you get attorneys, and they're hoping to get a settlement. They're hoping. No. They're ready for the smoke. Vin Johnson, the fighter, they want all the smoke. So why don't you let them in your life so they can take care of you?
Are you a real Detroit sports fan? Woodward Sports is here to give you all the Detroit sports you can handle. Weekdays, make sure you're locked in on Wake Up Woodward from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Followed by Big D Energy with Neil Rule and Darren McCarty from 11 a.m. to 1. Up next, you can't miss Ermanni and Edwards with Maz from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. And finish the day out with the bad boys of Detroit sports media, the Woodward Heavyweights, from 5 to 7 p.m. Okay, wait, that isn't enough for you, you sports freak. Check out Woodward Wings, Woodward Ringside, and the Lions Weekly Update every Sunday with Broder, Terry Foster, and Sean Baligian. Subscribe on YouTube for all our great content, and make sure you're following on all social media: X, IG, Facebook, and TikTok. You want sports? We got you covered. Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
You know how some things are so good they should be world famous, but they're not? Our house-made vinaigrette is one of those things. And the antipasto salad, we drizzle it over. Same with our hand-battered chicken tenders. Original recipe soups and pasta sauces. It's almost as if our original, world-famous Detroit-style pizza is mocking them. And that's not very nice.
A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit sports.
How do people feel about getting a Planet Fitness membership for $15 a month? How do they like working out in a clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? And how about free fitness training in the judgment-free zone that leaves them feeling energized all day long? Join Planet Fitness today with the free PF app online or in club and start getting that big fitness energy for $15 a month.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
The boys of summer are here, and Woodward Sports is all over the Motor City with the White Claw Tigers Tour. Come party with Woodward Sports, watch the Tigers, and sip on some White Claw all summer long. The best bars, big giveaways, live events, and a party that only Woodward Sports can throw. Ain't no party like a Woodward Sports party. Join us Friday, June 13th from 5 to 7 with the heavyweights at Nemo's in Corktown for the White Claw Tigers Tour, brought to you by White Claw and Ven Johnson.
I know you're tired of wearing that same old Detroit sports merch. Get some new merch right now on the website, shop.woodwardsports.com. All your teams that you need, Pistons, Red Wings, Lions, Tigers. We got your hoodies, tees, hats, all guaranteed to turn heads, man. Shop.woodwardsports.com. Get the latest designs right now. Guaranteed to turn heads. They got you new era in sports wearables. Shop.woodwardsports.com. Once again, that's shop.woodwardsports.com. Get you some merch now.
You know, I had to take the shirt off.
I thought you were taking your shirt off for real.
No. I'm not doing all that.
Oh, I'm about to say, man,
I'm not doing all that. Planet Fitness, look, man, your fitness is essential. And Planet Fitness understands that, man. So come on down, you get in shape. There's no judgment. It's home of the judgment-free zone. And the locker rooms, man, they take great care of them. They're squeaky clean. Trainers with every membership. They got everything you need. They got the vibes. They got the change of scenery. Sometimes you just need a different color, different airspace, different surroundings. It's Planet Fitness. Over 50 metropolitan Detroit locations. They got the gym for you. Pull up, feel good, have a great time, and then walk about your day. Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential.
Braylon Broski Bear, not one of my favorite guys, but we do love having you here. He brings that Bears love into the Detroit chat here.
Welcome in from Chi-Town, man.
He brought up something that was told to us yesterday, and that was that Amon-Ra had surgery this offseason to clean up a knee issue. Are you worried about that?
No, actually, I'm not. And we actually have a soundbite from Amon-Ra St. Brown about such surgery and where he is right now. So, great setup. Here's that.
Yeah, I think for us, it's Super Bowl or nothing. I mean, at this point, we want to win the Super Bowl. That's it. Obviously, you got to make the playoffs to win the Super Bowl, but that's understood by everyone. So, we want to win the Super Bowl. Plain and simple.
I'm not worried, and neither is Amon-Ra St. Brown. You know, sometimes what happens is players, he definitely is a warrior. He'll play through anything. But, players play throughout the season with little nicks, little bruises, little tears, things of that nature. And in the offseason, once you get to it, you can make the decision. Am I going to rehab this process, or am I going to have a procedure that then I can rehab and feel much better? So he decided to have the procedure and feel good about it. So he'll be fine. He's not the first. He won't be the last. But I like the message. But we understand that. It is the Super Bowl or bust. That's the same thing Brad Holmes told us last year. So I don't necessarily need to hear them say it, because we know, but it is refreshing that it's on their mind, much like it is ours.
Yeah. And shout out Broski Berry. He doubled down, gave White Claw a mention. He loves sipping White Claws with his man bun.
Appreciate that. Respect. Most White Claw drinkers are golfers. I'm just throwing that out there. Most White Claw drinkers are golfers. So, fellow golfer, I tip my cap to you. Yesterday was fun. Won a long drive competition.
Oh,
man.
you did?
I did.
Did you?
I
Nice.
got the video, but
I won one once.
Okay. What was the distance? And what was the outing?
It was cheating.
Oh, Lord.
This guy, I was like 16 or 17 working at the golf course, and this guy who was a bartender at Ernie's back in the day,
Okay.
T-Bone. Shout out T-Bone. He's like,
Shout
I want
out to
that guy on
T-Bone.
my squad. We get to the long drive hole. I'm not a big guy now. You can only imagine how small I was at 16. Well, he took my ball and put it up probably 50 yards ahead of the longest drive. Those guys were not happy when I walked to the stage to get my free drive.
I bet.
They know you didn't do it.
They know you didn't do it, right?
Right.
That's the one. When you see, you like,
I didn't even want to take it. He's like, you better get up there and get your driver.
Yeah, that's like when those guys come up there and you know they didn't shoot 18 under and they're talking about you like,
yeah.
18 under is very possible. I've seen it done, but like you, I don't know. But there's no judgment, right? This is what Planet Fitness is.
That's right.
Judgment.
Free zone. Ain't no
Nobody's
on the golf course.
100%. St. Brown, we covered that. Where do you want to go from here?
I mean, I was just having fun talking about stories.
I'm pushing off the Tigers because it is what it is.
What are you doing this weekend? I know that we save that towards the end, but let's just talk about the weekend right now. We got some good weather on our shoulders right now. It's going to be good this weekend. Going any games? It looks like the Tigers are still going to play. I've been looking for some postponement. I don't see that happening.
Won't be out there tonight. Tonight will be a chill day for me. Like, I've been ripping and running like a chicken with my head cut off, man. Getting to all these appointments. Had a dinner last night that was very good for this network, so we'll keep that under wraps. But just some chill, man. I may get down to the Cubs Sunday or tomorrow.
Now, you got a bet. You held us all to a bet in that game.
That's right.
100%.
Your boy El Mago.
We got him right over here, too. I still remember exactly what I said. I said he was going to bat 280. I said he was going to have 7 hits. And I said he was going to have 2 home runs.
There you go.
I stayed true.
Let's hear it, Chat. What do you think that outfield Javi or third base Javi is going to do against his former alma mater, the Cubs, this weekend? We'd love to hear from you.
You brought him up, so let's talk about it briefly. Talk about the Tigers. Last night they lose 3-2 in 10 innings to the White Sox, a team that you know they should beat, that they know they should beat, that they can beat. Got a big series going on against the Cubs coming up this week, today, tomorrow, Sunday. They haven't had a lot of rest time. They're still the best team in the AL. Is there anything about the last, is there anything about the last week and a half of Tiger baseball that is cause for any concern? For me, the answer is no, but I wouldn't be upset at people that had slight, petty, point outs.
Well, a little bit. Okay. I think it's the fact that they're beatable on a large scale, not like last-minute loss. We've seen them lose by quite a few runs to some bad teams. I do think that there will be a month of regression for this team where they struggle and they give up a little bit of their league. I'm not sure if they're going to finish the best team in the AL. But what these guys have done since the beginning of the season, even in the Dodgers series, they show the willingness to compete and never give up in games. I talked about this new set of cardiac cats that we have here in Detroit because obviously the Lions did it, but what the Lions created was a faith not only in themselves but the fan base that they can win any game. Mm-hmm. Unless they're down 30 in the third or fourth quarter, they can win any game. They could be down 2 scores with 5 minutes left. They can win that game. And that's what the Tigers have done. And that breeds confidence. It's obviously breeding confidence in the fans because the fans are probably going to sell this whole series out from what I've been hearing this weekend against the Cubs.
Yep.
But the fans aren't leaving the stadium early. The fans are loud in the 8th and 9th inning if it's close or if we're behind. But more importantly, a very, very young team has got the confidence bug. And they've got it deep. They can't get rid of it. They know that there's not one game that they're out of. They know that they can lose the first game in a series and still win that series. And I believe that that confidence is going to spill over into the playoffs. And I think they got a lot of that in the playoffs win that they had last year. I think that we're going to see a team that will regress a little bit, but is still going to be the team to beat in the playoffs.
Hey, Bray, I'm sorry. Hey, guys, you know that the Tigers right now are the 3rd best team against the spread in Vegas. They are making people money just because of what you're talking about, Anson. These guys are showing the league, they're showing the fans, they're showing the bettors about how to win baseball games, how to win series, how to invest in what's coming up in the future because I tease you guys when I do the series, the Caesars read, and I'm like, scan the QR code. The Tigers are the best team to bet in game. I'm teasing, but I'm also serious because you guys don't understand. Vegas does not know how to judge the Tigers. They don't do Moneyball teams very well. I remember back in the days of the A's coming up against the Tigers. You couldn't find a decent line. You couldn't find a way to predict what the A's were going to do solidly because Vegas doesn't know. This Tigers team is making people money. This Tigers team is top 3 against the spread when you bet them, and this Tigers team is driving Vegas nuts, and they are going to continue to drive Vegas nuts. And this series coming up against the Cubs is probably going to be one of the best series this season, this summer so far, that you can bet in-game, guys. In-game betting this series will be huge.
Yeah, I'm definitely eager to see this series and see how the Tigers respond. I don't have a problem with what the Tigers have done, even the White Sox series. Like I said, they've been on the road. They've been traveling. They haven't had a lot of breaks. You still got guys in the minors that are coming up. Justin Henry Malloy is a guy that I think they need to bring back. He's 260, I want to say, and hitting against left-handed batters. That's been a struggle right now for them. So bring up Justin Henry Malloy. That's something they can do. On Monday, we can have a different conversation if it looks a certain way. On Monday, if it continues to look kind of how it's been in the last 10 days like you were talking about, I agree. There's a different conversation to have on Monday. But I'm optimistic going into this one. Got Flaherty coming up. Scoobs is pitching tonight, I want to say. Scoobs is on the mound tonight. Flaherty's on the mound Sunday.
Yes.
Flaherty's on the mound Sunday. And then Ken Maeda.
No. We got tomorrow would be Montero.
Kiter.
I know it's same. Yeah, Kiter Montero.
Kiter Montero tomorrow. Jack on Sunday and then Scoobs tonight. So we can have a different conversation on that Monday. But I do understand what you're talking about.
Do you think Tigers fans start sounding alarms if they lose this series?
They're already sounding alarms, I believe. Because this is one of those things where I don't believe all Tigers fans believe like the other Tigers fans. I think in the Tigers base, let's say Tigers fan base, I think 22% really believe in the Tigers. Like the truthful believe that they can go the distance as of right now. I think the other 78 they're playing with believing in the Tigers.
How much does that 22 go up when we're talking about the Lions? Is it the same? Because it kind of feels like everybody in the city, until one of these teams breaks through, I feel like they're all stuck in that 20 to 25 spot.
I think for the Lions, I think it's 50-50. I think it's 50-50. I think the 50 that's like,
They've earned that?
They're like, no, we support. No, you're nervous, and it's perfectly fine. I think the Lions are 50-50, and I think the Pistons are probably more along the lines of what you're talking about. 22 believe in the Pistons. 78 are still waiting for, nah, this isn't it. Last year was a fluke.
And realistically, the Tigers should be beyond where the Pistons are, but especially with this start and the fact that they won a series in the playoffs, I'm not really sure what else this team can add to really convince Tigers fans that this team is that good. Now, we talked yesterday about the deadline. I think they have to be buyers, even if we don't see what that hole that they need to fill is right now, mainly because they're going to have to keep up with the other buyers in the league, i.e. the Yankees, the Dodgers, and others. But this team is built very differently than the shocking team that made it to the playoffs last year. They're better up and down, especially in pitching. I mean, we made the playoffs with one starting pitcher last year. That was our rotation. Literally one starting pitcher. The rotation's really deep now. The offense is better and deeper. We're going to be able to get maybe a McGonigal or somebody that comes up, and we're going to be able to sell some of those guys to add something else. I guess I just this isn't like 06 when we were on the heels of a not only a Pistons championship, but also a Red Wings championship, and then a World Series berth, and then followed up by another Red Wings championship. This town's been beaten for 2 decades, and it's just hard for everyone to be all in.
I think what it is, too, and Pete, you can jump in on this one, is it's the lack of star power. And when I say star power, I mean the supposed stars. Like when you talk about the Phillies, you can name 6 guys, starting with Bryce, starting with Schwarber. You go to the Dodgers, you don't even have to start. The Yankees, the teams, the Braves, the teams that are right there, they've got 5-6 superstars that they can point to where you're like, I trust because of this, I trust because of that. With the Tigers, there's Scooble, and there's a bunch of guys playing overachieving, if you will. And I think the overachieving aspect, Pete, is what people fear, whether they want to admit it or not. And that shouldn't be the case. But I get it for lack of a better. I get it a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I brought it up. Vegas is scared to death of the Tigers. They're just making too much. People like us are making too much money on the Tigers this year. Also, though, you're right about that, Bray. Also, in the same sense, these Tigers are more experienced now, coming after what Anson said. Now coming into this season, once Jackson Jobe comes back from his injury, you got a solid third starter. The Tigers now have 2 solid starters in Flaherty, in Skubal. Now you can have Jobe, who's really Jobe is my guy, man.
Sebastian says all the time, Jobe has the deepest bag of anybody on the team. He's just young and hasn't figured it all the way out.
Hasn't figured it all out, but we have the right pitching coach to do that, man. And the Tigers have proven in the past they can straighten out people like Max Scherzer and turn them into Hall of Famers, man. The Tigers know how to produce pitching. The Tigers know how to produce winners. This coaching staff, A.J. Hinch is our leader, man. We have no problem. You guys out there in the chat, let me address them real quick.
Go ahead.
Just let's relax, guys. They got this. We got A.J. Hinch coming. You know I'm with you guys. I love the Tigers just like you guys got. We got this, man. When Jackson Jobe comes back, we got it. Scoob's got it. They're going to get all those middle relief. They're probably going to get a Aroldis Chapman. They're going to get those middle relief arms I've told you guys about in the past. We got this.
And Hinch is the trump card, isn't he?
He's
Elon
the trump
card, whatever
He's
you
the
want to call
leader.
it.
He's the leader.
Oh, how about their beef?
Man, we talked about that. Yeah, Ryan brought it up yesterday.
Of course he would.
Oh, man. I mean, this is the ultimate gift to the people that are upset. And I'm not a Republican. People I know think that, but this is some juicy telenovela. It's really juicy.
It's hilarious. That's why I stick to sports. What you got, Ricky?
Rich guys beefing. It never excites me.
Super rich guys beefing, man.
But going back to what you were saying about how this team is, I remember when Going to Work Pistons was around. They were talking about almost like regular guys. Like we had maybe 1 star, but it's a bunch of regular guys. I feel like that's Detroit. Yeah, Bad Boys was kind of the same way. Like they all became superstars after the championship. Yeah. But they're the Bad Boys. It was a team thing. The Going to Work Pistons, a bunch of kind of regular guys, maybe 1 star. I feel like that's how Detroit does. Think about even the Lions. Yes, we got golf. Yes, we got these stars. But who's one of the favorite players of the Detroit Lions fans? Panay Sewell, the lineman. Not every team is like that. Their superstar is their lineman.
And he wasn't 3 years ago. Yeah. In 2 years, Riley is going to be a household name.
Riley Green.
Yeah. Torque could be.
Agreed.
Colt Keith could be. Mm-hmm. And then there's how many different guys that are coming up if they don't get traded. McGonigal. I mean, there's a lot of guys on this team. Jackson Jobe.
What about Dingler?
Yep.
Dylan Dingler, baby.
And I think I think you really hit the nail on the head with the fact that people don't really know who this team is, that they don't have the star power yet.
Right.
And that's the deal. It's like you look at the Lions in 2022, and nobody expected them to do what they did. Nobody was that excited because nobody knew how good Amon-Ra was. Nobody knew how dominant Panay was. And now that's America's team. People rallied around the Tigers at the end of last season.
Yes, they did.
Right.
Don't sleep on the nation loving this Tigers team when the playoffs come around this year.
Aside from the media. Sorry. I draw the line at the media.
Vegas.
And you know where I stand with that. And you know where I stand with that. I'm sorry, Braden.
No, please go ahead.
No, I was just saying that you guys know where I stand with the media out there. The national media hates us, but the fans around town, I think they're going to be on the board with the Tigers.
I think they are going to be on the board with the Tigers. You know somebody in Pittsburgh that I don't think they're going to be on board with? I think I want to say Aaron Rodgers is in Pittsburgh today. At least yesterday he said he was going to be in Pittsburgh and said he was going to sign the dotted line. Here you go from Tom Pelissero, Renegade A-Rod, 4-time NFL MVP. Aaron Rodgers informed the Steelers that he will fly to Pittsburgh on Friday, which is today, and sign before next week's minicamp. Sources tell the Insiders. Finally, a done deal. Rodgers, 41, will play his 21st NFL season in black and gold.
Fantasy question here. Who's his number 2 wide receiver? Calvin Austin or Robert Woods? Because those are not awesome choices.
Robert Woods.
He's old. I love Robert Woods.
It would be Austin.
But you think it's Austin, eh?
Yeah, I already know it is because I've been doing my research on it, and he's the one that's been preaching about Will Howard being apparently a good quarterback.
Who was? Calvin?
Austin, yes.
So more reason for Rodgers not to throw him the ball.
I hear you. Yeah, no, I hear you. I'm just surprised. I hear you.
I just think Robert Woods, I look at the professionalism Robert Woods when he's healthy, blah, blah, blah. That's what Aaron loves. He loves older players. He loves that professionalism.
USC?
Robert Woods, yes.
Yes.
100%. Aaron, hey, that's a great call. He's Cal, so there'll be some overlap.
And he got injured.
There.
Otherwise, he was going to be the top wide receiver taken. And he got injured, I believe, his senior year or his last year. But he's had a good good career when he's had a good quarterback.
He did the same thing. Literally, the year that he was taking off with the Rams, about to get paid, tore his ACL, and then had to get paid by the Titans.
That's right.
Got paid by the Titans and wasn't able to stay there in L.A. But just first thoughts on that. What does Pittsburgh look like this year with Aaron Rodgers? Obviously, Gabe Davis is a receiver. I believe that they bought in. You still have. Who do they have a receiver? Would be the question. I'm joking. DK Metcalf. They've already been working out. $33 million man. What does it look like this year with the Steelers and Aaron Rodgers? A legit look. Take the bias out of it. Take the jokes out of it. What does it look like?
Legit hard.
Now, personally, I just don't think the Jets were in a space with their leadership to handle an Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
If AG wanted him, which he clearly didn't, I think that it would have worked with AG. This is Mike Tomlin. Part of it feels like the safest landing spot for somebody like Aaron Rodgers, but part of it feels like a desperate end of a coaching career type of move out of Mike Tomlin. Man, you'd think that you'd want to have George Pickens around to have an extra target for this guy. At the same point, though, you know that Aaron Rodgers has such a terrible taste in his mouth from his Achilles lost season and then a subpar missed playoff season last year. I imagine that this has to be his last hurrah. He has to know that, and he has to bring his A game. But again, this is one of the most steady, strong foundation franchises in the history of professional football. If anyone can get the most out of him and make it work, it's the Steelers. But he's going to have to get in a room with Craig Hayward, and they're going to have to figure themselves out.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Definitely heard the conversations about Craig Hayward. He was not necessarily happy 2 months ago to cater to Aaron Rodgers, to move to Aaron Rodgers, to beg Aaron Rodgers. He came out, and then a couple of days later he came out and retracted his statement. So they're definitely going to have to get on the same page because he is the leader of that team. Not offense and defense. No, Cameron Hayward is the leader of that whole team. So it'd be good for them to get on track. Ricky, I come to you. 2000, Dick Vermeil? It was Dick Vermeil reaches out to a Kurt Warner, and they start up two desperate individuals.
Yeah.
Dick Vermeil was desperate as an old coach. Kurt Warner was desperate as never been in the NFL.
Desperate as a shelving stocker
100%.
at a grocery store.
But they found some magic, and that magic led them to the greatest show on turf, and they won a Super Bowl. Do you see anything like that? Is there any magic from Tomlin, who's one of the greatest coaches in the last 25 years, or one of the best coaches in the last 25 years, and then Aaron Rodgers in what he is?
Now, in year 2000, I was in 5th grade. So let me ask you a question. Was Kurt Warner problematic at this point?
Kurt Warner had never played in the NFL.
No, he was an arena
football. This was came out of arena football.
Yeah, he came out of arena and stocking groceries.
You got the call like Craig Reynolds.
Got you on the couch.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, so I don't trust Aaron Rodgers. I just don't. I think this may be the I hate to say it this way, the end of the Steelers' reign for at least for a couple years. Metcalf can't do it himself. I just don't trust Rodgers. He's so problematic, and he's at the end of his career. He hasn't played a good season in 2-3 years. Like I just can't. I don't trust him. 5. Yeah, I don't trust him. I think he's gonna be more. It's gonna be a bigger problem off the field. And on the field, it's gonna be like last year. He's just not gonna deliver. I don't trust him.
Jason Kenyon with the super chat. Aaron will be the reason the Steelers don't make the playoffs for the first time in 2 decades.
I agree.
Wow.
Putting it down.
I agree.
Kirby has the game marked on the calendar, and if that happens, this is the make or break year for Tomlin. This is the year that he gets extended or he gets fired. And Rando Smalls has a twin who happens to be a huge Steeler fan, and he's loving it.
Of course you would. I mean, you should. Like, if I'm a Steelers fan, and this is when you can take two things and you.
Well, no, Randall Smalls is loving it because he doesn't think it's going to go well.
Oh, because it's not. Because it's not. But I was saying, as the delirious Steelers fan, like he's still Aaron Rodgers. Like when you look at Mason Rudolph and you look at your streak of going to playoffs in peril, I love Aaron Rodgers. Oh my God, didn't he just win MVP 3 years ago? Oh, he's going to be great. This is the mindset because the Steelers organization has forced the fans to be this. They have not provided, not taken care of the back end. It all started with the Ben Roethlisberger, how his career kind of came to an end, and they did not want to hurt his feelings. And here we are, Pete, 5 years later.
I'm telling you, man. You know what? There's one weapon on the Steelers I think that we are forgetting about, who's actually, from what I've been reading, having some pretty good OTAs. Do you guys remember a gentleman by the name of Roman Wilson?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Now I'm going to tell you something right now. You know how Aaron Rodgers works. Now I've been watching the Bray, I didn't play in the league, but I watch my football. I have football knowledge. Aaron Rodgers is going to be, he ain't going to work with Calvin Austin. He ain't going to work with Robert Woods. He wants to work with the next young gun. He is going to be just coaching Roman Wilson up like something awful because he knows he can manipulate the situation. He's going to tell Roman to trust him. Go here, go there, and go every which way I tell you to go. Coach him on the field. I think that actually, guys, I'm going to slightly disagree with everybody here. I think that Aaron Rodgers is walking into a really good situation because there's nothing for him to worry about, meaning like aside from DK Metcalf and that situation that'll come, Jaylen Warren is a solid running back. I think Aaron Rodgers has nothing to worry about. I think this team will run on cruise control. I'm not saying he's going to put up 3,000 yards. I'm not saying he's going to throw 30 touchdowns. I'm saying this is a team that should run at a very good 10-6 pace, a 10-7 pace, because that's what the Steelers do. And whether you guys like Mike Tomlin or not, he is an 8-8 coach, or he's a 500 and above coach.
I was reading the segment sheet, and it said let Pete cook. But clearly, it didn't say let Pete cook at 320 because you're not cooking right now. Get out of here. Right. Get out of here. Aaron Rodgers, really, he's going to be the savior?
No,
you know what?
No, not savior.
I kind of agree when he's going into a good situation.
Yeah. That's what
he's just going to mess it up. He's going to be the factor that messes everything up. Steelers going to be fine. He's going to come in and create chaos.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Now,
that's what I think.
I wasn't hearing it wrong. Once I heard Aaron Rodgers, I immediately thought he was going to say he's going to be the savior.
No, I was just saying he doesn't have the pressure to win a Super Bowl. It's just he's just going to play. He's just going to play.
Well, can they go from worst to first? Let's do that. Mass put this on here. I think that'll be fun right now. Let's go worst to first in the division.
Sure.
Every year there's a team that goes from worst to first in their division. Let's take a look at these divisions and see who has that opportunity this year. Which team has the best chance to go worst to first? I'll start with this. It is the Cleveland Browns of the AFC North. What say you?
They are last on that list.
Okay. 100%.
Actually, I don't know. Those two at the top are probably tied for me.
Put them back up there, Pete. Let's go over
Yep.
like this. Obviously, Cleveland. You got Pittsburgh with Aaron Rodgers. You have Lamar Jackson, and you have Joe Burrow, who's mad that he had all that offense last year and no defense. So that's the division that you're looking at, and you think they don't have a chance.
There's a lot of teams I don't think have a chance to win, but no, the Browns, no, absolutely not.
Okay, let's save you know who for last. Let's save them for
Unless
last.
Shadur's their quarterback.
Hey, he's been throwing some dimes out there, but I won't say too much. Tennessee Titans, they are the AFC South. That means the Jaguars, the Colts, and the Houston Texans.
I'm not a Jacksonville believer, and
Cam Ward?
Well, that's the deal. If Cam Ward is this year's Jaden Daniels, then I'm not sure that they're going to upset the number one seed in the AFC playoffs, but I could certainly see them getting out of the basement.
Okay, fair enough. The Saints, that is the NFC South, where Tampa Bay Buccaneers are the current champs.
That is a really bad division. Don't they have the Panthers?
They have the Saints, the Panthers. The Falcons were probably odds-on favorite to win that division this year.
Well, yeah. I mean, between Tampa Bay and the Falcons, I don't see them winning the division, but the Panthers are so bad. But Tyler Shook, however they say his name, he's not getting it done. No, it's Shook. Shug or something. You actually pronounce that GH, but no. We'll see. But either way, that team is trash.
Pete, what about you? What do you say about the NFC East? No one team has won that back-to-back in the last 12 years, I want to say, or 11 years. New York Giants, last place last year. They had drafted a new quarterback. They add 2 quarterbacks in Jameis Winston as well as Russell Wilson. They draft Jackson Dart. Is this a team that can go from worst to first?
No, because of how they handled it. It's still the same leadership that screwed up Saquon Barkley. It's just that simple, Bray. I mean, that's just the simple answer, and I don't see the Giants winning. I'm not saying Jackson Dart's a bad quarterback, but I just don't see them winning going from worst to first with Jackson Dart, especially with the way that I'm done with Brian Dable and I'm done with Joe Shane.
Philly and Washington are just too different.
It's going to take him a couple of years.
It's a couple of years.
Recover.
They could get ahead of the Cowgirls, though.
Here, you know what? Let's just cut through the BS. Realistically, there are only 2 teams on here I see that have the potential to be worse to first. In my estimation. You're not going to like my first answer. It just is what it is. The Chicago Bears.
That was mine.
Based on everything and what they're doing, the revamping and what could be. If we're They got
our guy. They got our guy.
You play this game a lot. The what could be. This lines up and this and that. You play that game all the time.
I do play this game.
And they got
Chicago Bears and the San Francisco 49ers. I think they're the only 2 teams on there, and it's because of their division. Do you really trust the Seattle Seahawks? Do you really trust the Arizona Cardinals?
Well, San Francisco would be my absolute number 1
I
here
got you.
that can take that over. You get a healthy McCaffrey back, that whole offense looks different. The Patriots, though, are in a winnable division, and we really
Buffalo
have.
is just. I
forget that.
They can't. They can't.
Yeah,
beat them. To your point, I think they can finish second.
Yeah,
there you go.
The only team that I truly see being actually doing it is San Francisco. I think that the Vikings are a really fantastic team, and they've got a much better quarterback under center. You guys are going to see, and that's coming from a Spartan. Green Bay's not going anywhere, and I've never seen all of the big end, free agents that you bring in. I think there's 4 coaches that have won 10 games in their first year. There's a lot of things that are going against the Bears, and the biggest one is just the division they play in.
Fair enough. No, it's 100%. You look at that division, it is a tough division. Mm-hmm. Last year, you had 2 teams that had 13 wins and more. You can just stop there. So, no, I thought this is fun. But the 49ers, it's still Kyle Shanahan. Like you said, CMC comes back. Brock Purdy got his bag. Brandon Ayuk will be healthy this year. George Kittle also got paid. So, yeah, they're parading an offense that has familiarity and chemistry when healthy. Let's take a quick commercial break. We'll come back. Got Dr. Pierce coming up in a couple minutes or so. We got a couple more NFL topics. And just how's your day going? How's your Friday drive going? It actually looks like the air is clearing up a little bit outside here.
A little sun peek poking through.
We'll be right along for the game tonight. But let's get a message in from the Maz chair, and we'll get that message in from.
Yeah. Are you looking to upgrade your relaxation game? I'm just gonna be real with y'all. I spent 45 minutes in the chair before the show today. That's no lie. I had a knot in my back, and the massage chair got it, man. The largest massage chair showroom in the Midwest is Massage Chair House. They're in West Bloomfield with the top brands of massage chairs like Infinity, Osaki. They're located at Woodward and Long Lake, right down the street from us, man. Experience luxury comfort with Dr. Eric Duncan, the wellness doc. He's also the creator of the top YouTube massage chair review channel. So book a visit now. I'm trying to tell you, book a visit if you can. It's something different about these chairs, man. www.massagechairhouse.com, or you can scan the QR code. Where is this? Right above my head. Scan the QR code above my head. Massage Chair House, your ticket to the ultimate recovery and relaxation.
Are you a real Detroit sports fan? Woodward Sports is here to give you all the Detroit sports you can handle. Weekdays, make sure you're locked in on Wake Up Woodward from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Followed by Big D Energy with Neil Rule and Darren McCarty from 11 a.m. to 1. Up next, you can't miss Ermanni and Edwards with Maz from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. And finish the day out with the bad boys of Detroit sports media, the Woodward Heavyweights, from 5 to 7 p.m. Okay, wait, that isn't enough for you, you sports freak. Check out Woodward Wings, Woodward Ringside, and the Lions Weekly Update every Sunday with Broder, Terry Foster, and Sean Baligian. Subscribe on YouTube for all our great content, and make sure you're following on all social media: X, IG, Facebook, and TikTok. You want sports? We got you covered. Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit sports.
How do people feel about getting a Planet Fitness membership for $15 a month? How do they like working out in a clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? And how about free fitness training in the judgment-free zone that leaves them feeling energized all day long? Join Planet Fitness today with the free PF app, online or in club, and start getting that big fitness energy for $15 a month.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
You know how some things are so good they should be world famous, but they're not? Our house-made vinaigrette is one of those things. And the antipasto salad, we drizzle it over. Same with our hand-battered chicken tenders. Original recipe soups and pasta sauces. It's almost as if our original, world-famous Detroit-style pizza is mocking them. And that's not very nice.
The boys of summer are here, and Woodward Sports is all over the Motor City with the White Claw Tigers Tour. Come party with Woodward Sports, watch the Tigers, and sip on some White Claw all summer long. The best bars, big giveaways, live events, and a party that only Woodward Sports can throw. Ain't no party like a Woodward Sports party. Join us Friday, June 13th from 5 to 7 with the heavyweights at Nemo's in Corktown for the White Claw Tigers Tour, brought to you by White Claw and Ven Johnson.
Make sure you stay connected to Woodward Sports on all social platforms, man. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, along with YouTube, Twitch, and TikTok for the latest sports news, live updates, and of course that behind-the-scenes action, man. Don't miss out. Hit that follow button now and be a part of Detroit's #1 digital sports network. Once again, Facebook, X, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, and TikTok. Make sure you follow us right now. That's at Woodward Sports everywhere.
And right now, you can scan that QR code above my head. Use that code word over there, Woodward 1000. Open up your brand new Caesar Sportsbook account. And when you do so, make your first deposit and your first bet of $20 or more. If that first bet happens to lose, you get your first bet back as a bonus bet up to $1,000, but only if you scan that QR code above my head and use the code word over there, Woodward 1000, to open up your brand new Caesar Sportsbook account. Gentlemen.
You know what's funny is I was like whenever I drift off, like I like write. It's always been like my thing when I was in high school, middle school, elementary. When I feel myself fading, like I just start writing notes. I start writing whatever the teacher says. I just start writing words. And so I was writing shout out because I was gonna give you a shout out, and I spelled it S-H-O-T. I did that in 2011. I was playing for the 49ers. It's the preseason. Preseason game is over. We go to dinner. My parents had came in town for dinner. So, it's my mom, my dad. And we're sitting there, and Plaxico Burress had just gotten out of jail and then gotten back to the Jets, which I played for the year before, and then he wears my number the following year, 17. So he scored a touchdown in this preseason game, and I'm sending him some love on social media. This is Twitter. I've been on Twitter at this time like 2 years, a year or so, and I'm not even on. I'm sending him some love. Because me and Plax been cool. When he was at Michigan State, 99, I was a young kid. I used to go to the games. So I was like, yo, shout out to my boy Plax. And I spelled it shot, and immediately just got berated with messages. Braylon's a hater.
You went viral.
Which isn't the first time. Won't be the last. But I really did not mean it like that way. And years later, I was able to see him in New York. And he was like, man, I ain't never take it that way. Man, he said, why you paying attention with that? But this is Plax. Man, why you paying attention to them folks, man? That ain't wasn't me. I know what you meant. So shout out to Plax, man. Always a good dude. S-H-O-U-T. Shout out.
1-0 against Plaxico in billiards.
That's funny. I was at the game where he did David Terrell like that. I'll never forget it. Like David Terrell wore 1 in Uniform. Plax wore 1 up in up in East Lansing. And they put Dave Terrell on Plax. This is the 220-yard game. When he destroyed Michigan's 1999. 99, they destroyed Michigan. He had a hell of a game.
We had a good year that year.
Yeah, I did. You did. You beat Ohio State that year, too.
Big Pete Governs with that big fumble recovery.
100%. But I'll never forget, they don't know what to do at the DB spot. It's like, we got to do something. They grabbed Dave Terrell, who's a sophomore, and they put him out there. He's 6'3". He's 220. Plax is 6'5", 230. They figured it'd be a good match. Man, Plax took Dave Terrell, body slammed him into the ground, and all you saw was Lloyd, because I wasn't on the team. I was in the stand. hey, get his ass out of there. Get him out of there. Lloyd didn't know what to do, man. But shout out to Plex. He was a real one. He was definitely a real one. What do you make of Indianapolis Colts and Anthony Richardson? I was not a fan 3 years ago, when they were trying to say draft him. A lot of people, this network wanted him in Detroit. I guess at that time they would have wanted anybody. But I never was a fan because I didn't see the production on the field. I didn't see the production out of Will Levis either. They played each other. I thought it was the worst game ever. And both these quarterbacks got drafted before the first 35 were off the board. With that being said, pick 5, Anthony Richards, going in year 3. Shoulder injury, shoulder surgery, will miss the first OTA week. Where you at with him?
That's a blessing in disguise for
Daniel Jones.
Danny Dimes had one great year as an NFL quarterback.
Won a playoff game.
For a terrible franchise. No. Set my brother free. I'm not a Daniel Jones guy, but honestly, I think that they've got some good receivers there. I'd love to see somebody actually throw the ball to Adonai. He is nice. A player.
You just paid Pittman. He can't even get the pay. He can't even catch a pass.
I never was on that guy. I'm just really surprised that he turned into what he's been. But they've got weapons there. They've got Jonathan Taylor coming back. They've got an interesting defense. I think that the experiment with Anthony has just really set that franchise back. This is a guy that was talked about as a third-round pick, as a 10,000 to 1 odds to be the number 1 pick. And over the month leading up to the draft, the next thing you know, he's like a 1 out of 200 odds to go number 1. Yeah. And this guy slips into the top 10, and it was just purely on measurables coming out of the combine. Be very careful with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, be careful with that kind of stuff. But we got Doc in studio, so we don't have to be careful with the injury conversation because we got the best guy in here doing it. We'll get a quick commercial break, find out a little bit from Les Stanford, and then we'll talk about anything with Doc.
Oh, it's me, Les Stanford. Sorry, man. Yeah. Les Stanford.
Hey, Anson, we're doing the show.
I don't usually have Les this late, but Les is good all year long, and they've got an amazing inventory with amazing deals. You see all 3 of them above my head. That $169 a month 2025 Sierra. Step it up a little bit to the $259 a month 2025 Envision. For those players, that $699 Hummer 2025. Listen, get to Les Stanford Buick and GMC. Check out that amazing inventory. LesStanford.com, and together, let's drive.
Are you a real Detroit sports fan? Woodward Sports is here to give you all the Detroit sports you can handle. Weekdays, make sure you're locked in on Wake Up Woodward from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Followed by Big D Energy with Neil Rule and Darren McCarty from 11 a.m. to 1. Up next, you can't miss Ermanni and Edwards with Maz from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. And finish the day out with the bad boys of Detroit sports media, the Woodward Heavyweights, from 5 to 7 p.m. Okay, wait, that isn't enough for you, you sports freak. Check out Woodward Wings, Woodward Ringside, and the Lions Weekly Update every Sunday with Broder, Terry Foster, and Sean Baligian. Subscribe on YouTube for all our great content, and make sure you're following on all social media: X, IG, Facebook, and TikTok. You want sports? We got you covered. Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
A network.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
You know how some things are so good they should be world famous, but they're not? Our house-made vinaigrette is one of those things. And the antipasto salad, we drizzle it over. Same with our hand-battered chicken tenders. Original recipe soups and pasta sauces. It's almost as if our original, world-famous Detroit-style pizza is mocking them. And that's not very nice.
Woodwardsports.com and click on Shop. Get the latest in Detroit sports apparel and exclusive Woodward sports gear. Woodwardsports.com can get the whole team outfitted. Love the Pistons, Red Wings, and Tigers? We got something for you, too. Shop online at woodwardsports.com.
Guys, we love simple stuff. Like gimmies on the golf course, we like uncomplicated as men. And like Lady Jane's haircuts for men, you can walk in, you can sign in. Before you know it, you're handsome and clean, and it is super duper easy. Lady Jane's, they're open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
It is wicked awesome. You know, it's wicked awesome. It's Dr. Jeff Pierce, our injury insider from Michigan Sports and Spine, longtime friend of myself, longtime friend of the show. What happened to you? You looked a little more comfortable early on. You were kind of sitting forward. Now you're back in the chair.
Well, I don't know. I mean, do I look better sitting forward? I feel like I'm in the...
You look comfortable.
I'm ready to take off. I mean, I feel like I'm in the cockpit. Let's go.
Well, you know what?
This is a takeoff.
Speaking of takeoff, last night you were at Cars and Cigars. I have been before in the past. They have some of the greatest cigars as well as cars, as well as people. You got a chance to vibe out. What was the vibes like last night? How much money was raised?
They broke $14 million before it started.
Christ.
So it's 11th year. We've been there every year. We're a big supporter of Cars and Cigars and Tom Chelani and the group there. The cars are always amazing. The cigars are always amazing. I don't drink. I don't smoke. And the food was pretty damn good. You know, they're opening up their new restaurant here in Birmingham. But the cause is great. I mean, I love generosity. A lot of people. You get a lot of East Side competition in those bidding wars. So they raised some good money. And, you know, we'd like to turn some of that money over to Athletes Unlimited with our impaired athletes. Yeah. Talk about that. I mean, we're giving away our scholarship for impaired athletes. So anyone who knows about it, I think we have a good selection this year. So we're trying to break it out. We're trying to fill our 2 courses again on August 4th. So we'll get more news on that. So just thinking about that.
I'll be there again this year. And the golf game is a lot better, man, so I cannot wait. Dario does a great job with Cars, Cigars, and all that money goes on. I think a lot of it goes to Venezuela, the scholarships and the homes and things they built out there.
About 75 to 80% of it stays here in Detroit.
Okay.
And then some of it goes overseas to help support the cigar makers and stuff like that.
Do you go more for the cigars or the cars?
I'm a car guy, not a cigar guy.
Very cool.
So a great moment that happens in every parent's life. It's a bittersweet moment, but it is a great moment. It is when the child turns 18, graduates high school, and is about to leave the nest. Yesterday, our own Doc, shout out to the kid who's not a kid anymore. He graduated, now he be going to...
He's going to your nemesis. He's going to Michigan State.
There we go. Let's go. I had to get you to say it.
He's going to Michigan State. He wanted to play college lacrosse. We didn't get to where he wanted to go, so he chose a school over a small school. So he's probably going to play club. Actually, Michigan State won club lacrosse last year, so we're looking forward to that, him being a big addition there. But like I've already praised him a couple times. He won MVP for his school, and now he's going to be mentioned to All-State. His girlfriend actually just got All-American over at DCD for female lacrosse. So
damn, she trumped him then.
Huh?
I said she trumped him.
Yeah, but we love her. She's part of the family, so we're happy it was in our circle of people that won such awards. So.
Now, Doc, here's a good question for you. I don't know if it's personal or not. Did he get any scholarship money? Because Cranbrook's expensive.
That's true.
Cranbrook's expensive.
No, he was there for academic reasons.
There you go.
You know, he's No, he overachieved. He did great. I think I talked about before, maybe talked to some of the parents, and we've talked about it, that his concussion really took him out of the important years. And could he have gone and played and forced it during his sophomore, junior year, which is the most important year for lacrosse high school players. We didn't allow it because something you brought up last show is that you start getting multiple concussions when you don't really know what you had, and you're more likely, if you have a concussion, to re-injure in that area of recovery. So a lot of people out there, their schoolwork goes down. These things are happening in junior high and high school, and you're really not noticing. So not to turn this into medical, but you need to be aware. You gave me a shout out that he had a dad that was understanding of the concussions, understanding the signs and symptoms, and he's recovered. He's done well. But watching him play the second half of this year is probably his best year because he has recovered. He does feel confident going through, and he's just playing different. So for the audience out there, the people, or anybody talking about concussion, you got to look for the signs, because the kid, you're like, oh, my kid peaked in junior high or peaked in high school. Sometimes they get an injury, the concussion, and their schoolwork, suffers. Everything suffers. So there might have been some type of injury that happened, or something happened. They just didn't they're just not smart anymore. So sometimes that is part of it.
Now, you said you hate to get a little medical. No, that's what we have you in here. Minus the stories about the concerts and the trips and things of that nature, man. Your expert is in the field of medicine. So that's why we have you here and ask these questions. Speaking of that, heard you got some issues with some people as it relates to your patients not being compliant on certain things. Talk about that, dog, because compliance is very important if you want to get right.
Yeah, I have a friend right now that she's got multiple injuries and just thinks she's going through that age where it used to just heal and now it's not, and I just don't have time for it. It's nice to have someone like Michigan Sports and Spine where we can guide you, but we can't do it for you. And that goes for anybody. You find the committed patient, you find the committed athlete, you committed anything. It's just a different breed, or you find the person that's making excuses to not being able to do it. And it reflects on recovery. So my biggest thing in life is a mirror. Why is a mirror so important? Because you got to look at yourself. 99.9% of the time, you're the problem. You're the limiting factor. If you're not committed, how to get through. When you want something done, you get it done.
Yeah.
Right? It's very rare. We can talk about insurances. We can talk about money. I put it out there a couple of shows ago. You have any athlete that's injured, not getting the right treatment, at Michigan Sports and Spine, I will see anyone that's injured, that's in that gray phase of, am I getting the right treatment or am I not getting the right treatment? Multiple times they're not getting the right treatment because of today's insurances, today's restrictions, today's doctors not having the time to peel it back. But if you're a budding athlete or just an athlete, impaired, not impaired, with our Athletes Unlimited, I definitely put it out for our impaired athletes. But we're here to help. I'm in the next chapter of life. I'd rather have the legacy of that. We're helping kids that can't be helped. So I'll get off that soapbox.
You're good. You're good.
We got some news laid on us yesterday about Amon-Ra's procedure over the summer. The chat has been bickering whether it's been a procedure, whether it was just arthroscopic. Now, when you go in and get scoped, you can still clean some stuff up while you're in there. Do you have an understanding of what they did and how serious you think this might be?
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know exactly. I heard something about it, but usually when we're scoping, scope means so much more now. When you used to hear, oh, he got scoped, and then he went in and got cleaned up. Now everything's minimally invasive. So minimally invasive is done under the scope. So they're doing not major repairs. Major repairs. You're getting rotator cuffs being done under scopes. You're getting things cleaned out. A lot of times what we want to say at this point, because we're not hearing he's out for a long period of time, this is probably a cleanup. You think of it, I always say like the ligaments in your shoulder and your knee, wherever you're getting scoped, which those two are the most common. You can also scope an elbow, a hip, all that stuff. But you're going in, it's like dead ends, right? Dead ends on your hairs. When you have that fraying of the ligaments or the meniscus of the cartilage, cleaning it up is always better. Having a good smooth edge, it improves blood flow, it improves irritation. But now you got to be careful on how much you're taking out, because back in the day we used to just take meniscus out. Your arthritis level will climb immensely, especially on real athletes where they're pushing harder on those joints than normal.
What about shaving it down? Like, what's that arthritis process like later? Obviously, I'm asking because I had mine shaved down. What am I looking forward to in 50, 55? 60?
You're looking at that. You need to maintain your strength, right? We've talked about core around a joint. When you lose that muscle mass, like when you get to a certain age, we can talk about diets too, because, the fasting diet, what's the pros and cons of that? But to answer your question, if you have something that's recognized, like that's what we'll do. We'll do prevention. Like for you, we'll note that your knee was that way. You had it done back in the day, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
You got to look at the strength around that knee, the integrity of the joint itself, the advanced arthritis, the crepitus, the cracking, the popping. Those are all our generic arthritic terms, right? So that means there's a problem. You can have, like they say, arthritic change tears or arthritic tears. What does that mean? That means that the joint creates bone spurs, which is little like thorns, and that ligament continues to roll over it. Well, there's going to be a wear and tear into that eventually. It doesn't happen automatically, right? The shoulder can do it. If you're avoiding your shoulder movements. These are arthritic, like little thorns. Think of it like when we say osteophytes or advanced arthritic changes. It's a rough edge versus a smooth edge. That's why scoping at the right time can preserve that ligament, your natural ligament, from going. With a repair, you should be pretty close if you had a full repair. Some guys that get scoped, they just get taken out. That's where biologics that 20 years ago, even 5 years ago, we didn't know enough biologics. When I talk about biologics, that's part of the secret sauce formulas. That's what you kind of do. And what we try to do is identify, like, anyone with, I say anybody that's got a brace on when they're playing basketball or doing anything is a candidate for biologics, because it's more of a proactive, preventative thing. I'll stop there.
Well, Doc, you're fine. Stay right there. You get privy to the treat, man. You get a chance to watch us spin the wheel yet again. Anson, take over.
He's gonna spin it for us, but while we're spinning it, I want to catch up on some super chats, and then we'll talk about the weekend, because you always got your finger on the pulse when it comes to weekends. Going back to Rando Smalls here somewhere. Rando Smalls, Kerwood Festival in Owasso, Michigan this weekend. All weekend. My truck will be in the car show Sunday morning. Nice. Aaron will be the reason the Steelers don't make the playoffs for the first time. We already read that. Jason Kenyon. Dante 151. I can't read that. Stephen Baffy. Aaron Rodgers has an OL with holes and plays the Jets team week 1 that is coming for him. AG going to light him up. They play the NFC North 2. He done. I did want to say Aaron Rodgers is going to have a chance to go out on top of the Lions to end his career. They do play at the end of the season in December, I believe, the Steelers and the Lions.
You don't even know if he'll be in the lineup.
Middle-aged Sneaker Chick shot in here again. Love you guys. Hi, Dr. Jeff. Middle-aged Sneaker Chick again. Dr. Jeff's passion for doing it the right way is why I went to him. He is the real deal. And then Jason Kenyon with the final super chat in here. You guys crushed it today. We appreciate you. Make sure you smash that like button. Man. I think I've asked before, how long can a cadaver ligament last in the body as a cartridge replacement, foot specific? And while you're telling us that, Pete, go ahead and spin
Hang on, buddy. I was adding Jason Kenyon there real last second. Hang on. Keep talking.
Okay, yeah. So can you answer that for us, Doc? How long can a cadaver ligament last in the body as a cartilage replacement, foot specific?
A long time. I mean, it's supposed to be at least 15 years. Have we had people last longer? Yes. It's all about the wear and tear, how you do with the core muscles around the injury or the replaced area. Well, like for Braylon, for his knee, he's obviously doing well because he's keeping his muscles tight. What that does, and I wanted to get into, I don't know how much time we have, but you want to continue with the proteins. You want to continue with muscle building. As you age, you're losing muscle mass. What does muscle mass do? It protects your joints. I mean, Braylon's a great example right there in the air. He's got a lot of muscle mass. You start taking about all these people on the Ozempics, all the weight loss, the fasting, intermittent fasting. what they're doing is they're not feeding the muscle. That's not why I'm pro to it. You know, it's good that you're losing the weight, but you have to be pro to maintaining muscle because you're going to put way more pressures on your joints itself. So the weight taking off, like I've talked in the past, it's 4 to 6 pounds of pressure off of each joint, but you still have to build that muscle mass. That's why I think the new peptides, the new versions of the Ozempics and things like that are taking into account not the muscle, not losing the muscle mass. But muscle mass you need to lift weights at all age groups, even in the 90s, and you need to, move from there.
Hey, Super Chat, love that. Get some more questions for the doc next time you see him in here. And Doc, can you let us know when to spin that wheel?
Let's spin it. We got time frame here.
There it is. Shout out to everybody. We appreciate.
We was in the 355. We was like, no, let's keep going.
Appreciate you guys again. Please smash that like button before we get out of here today. Huge shout out to all the guests that we've had in all week, and of course Doc coming in once again for us. And appreciate that green outfit, Braylon.
We might have a Jason Kenyon.
We got a new winner.
We got a new winner.
Jared Sayers. Is it going to stop on him?
I don't know.
Wow, we got a new winner.
It's always fun to have a new winner in the ball.
It is.
Fun to have a new winner in the ball. We'll get your information. I think he needs to send it to Maz.
Yes,
right,
please.
I'll put it in the chat. Yeah,
Maz at woodwardsports.com. Email him your first and last and the address. We'll get that out to you next week.
We will do that. Look, we appreciate you guys for tuning into the chat, man. Look, it's going to be a great week. Next week, the week after that, Woodward Sports, we got things planned for you. We're going to revamp and turn this thing around, man. Stick with us just like you have, man. We appreciate it, man. The more you engage, the more we get better, man. So we appreciate you for Anson, Ricky, Pete, and the Doc. Doc in the middle, man, bringing the peptides in the combo. We are Woodward Sports Network. We'll see you next week.